Hello, everybody. Welcome to the energy read for the week. It's kind of an interesting one. Normally, I would do because full moon lunar eclipse is tomorrow, and I would probably just read for this energy read, just do one reading, and and leave it at that, and include the moon and all of that. But it was just coming to me that there's got to be two, and the reason for it is that um, first of all, things may resonate differently with you, but there's such an intense energy in the collective right now with everything going on that um, the really big focus is what we can do, right? Externally, there isn't much we can do, right? Biggest thing we have is, you know, keeping our energy good and putting out hopes, prayers, thoughts, for peace. Um, and we are kind of helpless in the fact of there's nothing we can do as everything plays out. The thing we need to do is take care of ourselves. So between this energy read for the week and the end of the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, uh, full moon lunar eclipse, we need to you know we need to have as many tools at our disposal. So I'm going to do two videos. Maybe both will resonate with you, maybe just one, but I'm really going to have the focus be on what can we do for ourselves to keep in the best vibration we can while all of this plays out. And yeah, again, I am a firm believer, you may not agree with this, that all of this is meant to transpire the way it is. It may seem unfair, it may seem shocking. Um, it's the things that have to be done, right? The old crumbling. What I've said this before. If you've ever experienced in your life watching someone pass out of this realm, it whether it's traumatic or peaceful, it's still not a very pleasant experience, right? So yeah, it's just we're going through what has to be done right now, but we need to make sure the biggest thing is that we're weathering this for ourselves and our soul, getting through this in one piece. And we will. Let's start for the energy read for the week, just with the overall energy. We'll read from Nature's Rhythm Oracle. Yeah, it kind of gives us an idea of what's going on and what to look for. So let's do that first. And then, like I said, I'll do a separate moon read. I've got a bunch of cards here, so I don't want to make it too long, but oh, interesting. We got the Earth card, which makes sense because as much as we think this change is us, is all humanity and everything, Earth is going through this massive change too. And that was always going to happen. What number is that? 42. Earth. I am nurtured and cared for by Mother Earth. So this is what we can do. Number one, easiest thing, again, get out in nature. Mother Earth has absolutely everything we need for our health and well being. A tree will balance your emotional body by neutralizing worry and anxiety. The rivers, creeks, lakes, and oceans will cleanse and purify your spirit. The soil will infuse your physical body with negative ions that improve the natural function of your immune system. This card confirms that you need to spend more time in nature, disconnect to reconnect by plugging into Mother Earth. She is living library of knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. So, again, our biggest tool, prayer, mantra, and meditation and nature. Okay, that's sort of the overall theme for the week. I've got a bunch of cards out here because I was being called to use certain two decks. Um, but I think I'm going to divide them up between readings here, or maybe use them in we'll do the energy read and we'll just use those in the moon read. The moon read's probably going to end up being a lot because it is an eclipse, right? It's the endings. severing of things we, no longer serving us. And I feel like those are really being stripped away from us right now. All right, this week, again, we pulled the High Priestess. Um, what does it say? I lift the veils of ignorance and darkness. Um, that's what's happening right now. Like all this stuff has to be exposed. We're not even at like I think 1/10 or 1/100th of the amount of stuff that has to be exposed right now. So it's gonna be it's not gonna be an easy ride, but it's a necessary thing. So again, like I said, our focus is gonna be on ourselves and what we can do. Um, One thing I am strongly feeling though is when you kind of look at it from this, there's a lot of that really warrior, masculine men, you know, fighting and with swords. And what I'm noticing is a real lack of the feminine energy. So, um, regardless, again, feminine energy and masculine energy have nothing to do with our gender. So, I would say a lot of focus that we need to focus on too when we're out on our nature walks is allowing the feminine energy to come back in and rise because you know, it's, I feel like it's really being oppressed. I mean, it's part of the exposure of things, but, you know, yeah, that's interesting. Balance, finding a balance, finding that balance. And it's interesting that I would say they're both feminine in nature, those two. So it's really critical right now that we're keeping ourselves, our soul in balance. And you could even say, for that matter, like just because of the color, the red and the blue, how we associate color with gender, not necessarily energy, but in this case, it's like we have to be working on balancing that masculine and feminine and energy within us. That's always been one of the big goals of what we are trying to achieve in this life. So, yeah, it's really about us this week and where we put our focus and the things we do. Um, and those are the things that we need to really, I don't want to say cling on to because that sounds needy, and in order to create a balance, we have to be engaging in both practices, right? So a little bit of the masculine of stirring things up and moving things out, um, which we'll talk about more when we get into this lunar eclipse reading next, because I think there's still going to be quite a bit of purging going on through this next few days. But also starting to do things that bring in some more feminine energy and rise that vibration a little bit, right? So, whatever we can do to do that, nurturing. It's hard to nurture when everybody's in fear, and that's where they want us, right? In this fear state, so we don't use our other God-given tools of um, energy, right? So that we can be raising this feminine energy. We can be stoking up the nature energy, all of these things, right? So it's just important we go back to, and again, it always sounds selfish because it's like, well, I should be helping the world, but it's not helping the world if you're out of balance and you're in a state of fear. That's not helping. That's making things worse for yourself and the collective. And it's so, as much as it sounds selfish, it's we need to we need to uh, like really be cautious of our energy and where we're putting our attention and that kind of thing. Okay, so the two deck I'm gonna before we do the read for the week, I'm the two decks, the Kyle Gray decks, the Angels and Ancestors, and the Ascended Masters. And I wasn't going to read them, but then as I was sitting there talking in that last little spiel, I cut the Angels and Ancestors, and this card came up. So we're going to put this in this reading, but I am going to use those two decks in the next one. Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. Interesting, right? Yeah, so I would say on an energetic level, this isn't about us going out and getting on our soapbox and all of that. Um, I think a lot of the things we think are correct or we've been told aren't true. And so we really have to be in this energy of like able to accept whatever comes because it's going to be very, and like I've talked about this before, some of it's going to be shocking for even those who have been looking at this stuff for a long time. So this is the energy we need to be focusing on is peace, the peacekeeping energy. Um, and that is all done through ourselves in meditation and in just our general everyday uh, expelling of energy. So that's why nature is a really good help with that because it helps us focus and ground. Okay, we're going to look at the week like we always do with the energy cards. Going to do the Monday through Wednesday thing. Um, and really sort of like I said, what I'm keeping in the back of my mind is us um, getting provided tools on the things that we can just personally do um, to keep things. That's an interesting card. Okay. Ooh, it's funny too. Those two are very root chakra cards. Hmm. Ooh. I guess I gotta take that one, eh? Oops. Okay, so we got two for the end, but okay. Beginning part of the week, Monday through Wednesday. The first two cards I'm going to hold up at the same time. They're very root chakra cards. Two things. The first one is, it is what it is, right? Basically, what's happening out there is beyond our control. Um, we just have to, like, our job is to observe and to help people understand as we go through this. But the big thing is, we just have to let this play out. It is playing out to the way, there is a design to it. I know it doesn't seem like it, and it just seems like we're in peril, but we're not. We also got the suppression card, which is always it's actually one of my favorite cards, and here's why: is it's this person is in obvious um, strife, anguish, all the low frequency fear words, covered in ropes and roots and head down, and the outside world, it's not super bright out there, but it's up there. But the thing is that none of these ropes are actually bound to us. Our own worst enemy is us. The suppression is us, putting all this, yes, there is a lot of generation of fear out there, right? And it's easy to kind of slide into it. But what's coming up is like you have the power to like just slough off those ropes, right? And it may seem trivial or trite that you're out there tiptoeing through the tulips, which you're not, which you might be. I don't know. Go have fun, but out in nature and just realize that that is all. Fear is all a programming thing, and we have to break those chains, get and drop those shackles. And it's so the beginning part of this week is like it's like, yes, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the energy is heavy. It feels suppressive, it feels hard, and like, how can we be doing peaceful meditations in nature amongst everything that's happening? But it's sort of the key to like what needs to happen, because the other thing, then it's funny, then the next three cards are like, here's how you remedy this. The first thing is you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. I gotta have faith, the faith, baby. Anyway, we do. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. In this card, faith is, I love this card because it comes in so many different spiritual energies. Mother Earth, the Godhead, whatever you want to call that, the ancients, just the crystals. Everything's coming from the crystals. So it doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters that you get there. but that you're sitting in the energy of love, right? Not the lower energies. So do whatever you can to stoke up things that make you feel like you have peace, like you have faith. Again, nature probably is like the best one to go to. Um, so then we also got responsibility. Um, Look at planting a seed and letting it grow. Self discipline, empowerment, reliability, fulfillment. So, yeah, this is about you taking care of you and nurturing this seed for yourself. Right now, it's funny. When I first read responsibility, I thought it said resiliency. So that's a little bit of it too, even though it's not on that card. It's like, and the self discipline part is exactly this, is pulling yourself out of this and into this. Keeping the balance, create the balance, right? That's the theme for the overall part of the week. Balance. We've got to be in that energy where we're not being sucked too low into the dark and the fear, and we're and we're pushing as much as we can to remain in the frequency of love all the time. We also did get a heart chakra card for that, which is connection and universal oneness, love, interconnection, and support. Yeah, just so critical right now that we're tending to ourselves and sitting in that frequency of love as much as we can. That's the remedy, right? I know it sounds like simple and easy, and I know that it's not, because sometimes fear will get the best of us. It does every day, at least once or twice a day. Um, but the key and the remedy is pulling back out of that and not remaining in that lower and feeding into that energy. It does matter right now how we're feeding into these energies. So let's look at the rest of the week and then we'll leave that there. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting week. Might be a bit of a tough week in some respects. Oops. Oh my. Okay, we got a few cards for the end of this week. Yeah, and one of the big things too, I heard, I can't remember who, I think it was Alexander Quinn who channels, oops, the Pleiadian, or no, Arcturians. And that's funny. Um, he was emphasizing too that the intuition thing is really coming in. Discernment is still going to be super important, but to use our skills of intuition, because again, disclosure is just like it's coming at us rapid fire. There's so it's just about make sure your um, emotional and physical body are ready. We're ready for this onslaught of information, so it doesn't take us out. So that's part of the energy again, but that comes back to the same things I've been saying for a couple of weeks. Is intuition is really turning on. It's really important that we're working with it and starting to use it as a skill. All right, the end of the week. The first one up is Birds of a Feather. This card, and it's a heart chakra card. So this one always for me is, be surrounding yourself with those of a like mind and attitude and understanding. Um, it's not important, I think, this week to be like adding to conflict by getting into conflict, right? So arguing with people. Um, Again, the Peacekeeper card. Did I flip it? I flipped it. Oops. Um, Letting go of that energy of needing to be right. There is, there's still a large degree of like things where like people are going to be like, I told you so, I told you so. And we don't want to necessarily do that. Let's stay out of that energy and just, you know, my fundamental belief is I came to help people get through this time because, be able to just hold this calm and peaceful place where I've kind of gone through and seen a lot of the stuff that's already, like I know some of the nitty grittiness of it, right? But I'm able, like now, nothing is shocking to me, which maybe is like, you know, some people would say, oh, that's callous and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I think it's callous in the fact that it's like a callus. It's building up an exterior so that it's just deflecting off of me. And then I'm able to be like, yeah, it's gross. It sucks. But let me hold your hand and help you through this, right? So, yeah, the end of this week, especially with those eclipse energies wrapping up, just don't try not to be in a place where you're getting into arguments with people, either online or in your friend groups, and just stick to the. You have to have at least one person, or watch or follow one person that is of a like mind. So don't don't let it get to you this week. Like-mindedness. Get together with your peeps. Okay, so we got a few things for the next set of cards. Isolation comes up. This card though is the isolation, melting of the tear. So it this is like, feel your feelings, cry your emotions, because the tears end up melting that ice, right, and that hard exterior. So do not also hold back your emotions, right? You know, try not to be super yelling at people and stuff, but we do have to break down this um this this wall we put around ourselves, and not feeling our feelings. Such a it's such a disservice to ourselves. We also got the silence card. Nice little full moon there. So it's in addition to the nature thing, besides looking up at the night sky, we really need to be um, taking these moments of silence for ourselves and being in awe of the universe and nature. So make sure you're taking those moments. The courage card also flipped out, and this one is just like, have courage, right? Even in this rock face, the flower still ended up growing through it. So with that, we're in a state of transition and change, but like, the inevitable outcome is everything is going to be fine. There's still going to be growth and change, and that's the point of all this. The instinct card also came up, which again, another full moon in there. Um, like, all I can say is more gifts of intuition are going to be coming online. Keep, you know, keep nurturing and growing. That last card I already flipped, but the seed in our hand. Keep nurturing and growing your skills and using your intuition and your discernment. Um, Especially as different news and things comes out, you're gonna need that to really like make up your mind about things and be like, and so that it's not causing you fear, instead of like, oh, I just listened to this guy and this is it, this is the end of it all. Like, and then it's like, okay, we'll use some discernment, and what does that really mean, and what is your heart, your instinct, your intuition, your mind telling you. You got to start listening. We got to start listening to those things, not the external sources. All right. We also got the intuition card. Trust, insight, awareness, guidance. It's all there for us. We just need to do it. And we also got, it's funny because this ties back to the birds of a feather. So it's family, but again, that may not be birth family. It could be your chosen family, or in this it says belonging, community, culture, tribe. So real big focus on the end of the week to like connecting with our people. Um, yeah, it's make sure you're connecting with like-minded people. It's funny too that like the birds of a feather, and then for the family portion, we have a nest with eggs in it. So be nurturing those relationships and getting close with our like-minded people. We most of us have found at least one of those people. If you haven't, you know maybe be on the lookout for one of those people. Maybe they're coming into your energy this week with this moon. Okay, so we're going to be keeping that fairly short because we're going to really get into a lot. The moon video is probably going to be a little bit longer because it is the wrap up of this eclipse first eclipse season, and and I do think that there's going to be big, like huge, strong energies with that. So that's the reading for the week. Again, just really overall, we need to focus on ourselves, and I have a feeling that's completely what's going to be coming up in the moon read too, because I'm going to focus that read too on us being able to like figure out what it is we need to be doing for ourselves to help us through that time, rather than, you know, what does the moon mean, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, that those inevitably will come up, but yeah, it's I'm trying to put this focus on us taking care of ourselves and weathering through this energy shift. All right, take care of yourselves. Have a good week. Get out in nature, even if it's like stormy, even for 2 minutes. Sometimes it just takes to see a little bird on a tree to make your day. So, okay, talk to you soon.